Hi, welcome back to Retro Room, and today we're going to be talking about former club kid Patricia Field. So Patricia Field has her own Wiki page, and here is some of what it has to say about her. Patricia Field was born on February 12, 1942, and is an American costume designer, stylist, and fashion designer. Field was born in New York in 1942 to an American father and Greek mother who emigrated from Lesbos, Greece. She was raised in Manhattan and Queens, and claimed credit for inventing the modern leggings for women's fashion in the 1970s. She is the owner of the boutique Patricia Field. Field met Sarah Jessica Parker during the filming of 1995's Miami Rhapsody. They became friends and worked together on the television series Sex and the City. Before the first season of Sex and the City, Parker and Darren Star asked Field to design the costumes for the series. During Field's tenure as costume designer on the series, the show became well known for the fashions. For her work on Sex and the City, Field was nominated for 5 Emmy Awards with 1 win, and nominated for 6 Costume Designers Guild Awards and 4 wins. She is one of 6 honorees of the 2008 Real-Time Film Festival. She went on to return as costume designer for the movie Sex and the City in 2008 and the sequel in 2010. She worked in the Asian market by creating the fashions behind the Chinese feature film Go La La Go in 2010. Field's television credits include Hope and Faith and Ugly Betty. She served as costume designer for the feature film The Devil Wears Prada, for which she was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Costume Design. Field, who is openly lesbian, was for many years romantically involved with costume designer Rebecca Weinberg Field, with whom she partnered on Sex and the City. Field appeared as the first guest judge during the first season of the Bravo reality television series Project Runway. Her boutique was featured in a 2007 episode of Kathy Griffin's reality show My Life on the D-List, as well as on a 2008 episode of Paris Hilton's My New BFF. In 2011, she designed most of the outfits for the characters in a Taiwan drama called Material Queen. In 2016, Field sold her iconic property on the Bowery after being in business for 50 years, and continues to work in TV and film. Field is currently the costume consultant on the TV Land series Younger. The charities Field supports includes Children of America's Fund and the Lower East Side Girls Club. Her support also extends through numerous LGBT organizations. Among others, Field's influences include John Galliano and Diane von Furstenberg. Patricia Field also has her own website called patriciafield.com. Here is what her bio page says about her. She is a native New Yorker and one of fashion's greatest visionaries whose multifaceted career has spanned more than 5 decades. Field has received widespread critical praise for her pioneering vision of what constitutes style, a fashion philosophy that values eclecticism, creative expression, and an understanding of oneself over the chasing of trends. Her distinctive approach to dressing is evident through her work as a costume designer. Field single-handedly changed the way women dress through the HBO series Sex and the City, arguably the most fashionable show in television history, and its feature films. For her work on Sex and the City, Field won an Emmy Award and received 5 nominations for Best Costume Design, and with the help of a thrift store tutu, created one of the most iconic on-screen New York fashion moments since Audrey Hepburn John Givenchy for A Stroll Past Tiffany's. Field also received an Academy Award nomination for The Devil Wears Prada, as well as continued recognition for her work on television series such as Ugly Betty and Hope and Faith. Field is also a seasoned retailer, establishing her boutique in New York City in 1966, which remained a fashion landmark for 50 years, from its famed location on E8th Street to its final residence on the Bowery. Her store was a downtown institution, internationally known and frequented by celebrities, stylists, emerging designers, artists, performers, and club kids alike. In 2016, Field sold her iconic retail property and launched a new concept art fashion, born out of her long personal ties to New York art community legends like Keith Haring. Art Fashion now sees Field as curator, working with an impressive group of today's talented visual artists who, under Field's guidance, have applied their unique aesthetics to hand-painted, one-of-a-kind clothing. Through her online gallery and shop, patriciafield.com, Field continues to bring these sought-after fashion creations to fashion fans around the world. On December 26, 2015, Michael Schulman wrote an article for the New York Times called "Patricia Field Hangs Up Her Retail Wig." 3 days earlier, the Sex and the City costumer had made a startling announcement. She will close her store early next year, half a century after opening her first shop. No more bedazzled hoodies, no more rhinestone bustiers. Obituaries flooded Twitter lamenting the end of an era. "New York City won't be the same," wrote former club kid Michael Alec. "I am going to have nothing to wear," said the British DJ Jody Harsh. Jezebel ran the dire headline, "Patricia Field is closing her New York storefront and I don't think I can go on." It seemed like a familiar story, another countercultural bastion gentrified into oblivion. But before her devotees start grousing about rising rents and luxury condos, Miss Field would like to clear a few things up. First of all, she doesn't pay rent. "I own this, and I am selling this real estate," she said, as her two white poodles, Sultana and Booty, curled up on her desk. She acquired the first chunk of property in 2000, when there was nothing here, and then expanded into an adjacent building a dozen years later. She said she was selling for a healthy profit, though she declined to give figures. She also insisted that she was not in a cash crunch. "Financially, I could stay here and operate," she said, and she is not one to bemoan gentrification, saying, "I don't feel like there's any hope in ever going against the tide. I believe you have to get on your surfboard and ride it." Her decision, she said, was a matter of personal privilege, though some would call it cultural hara-kiri. Thanks to Sex and the City, Miss Field has been in high demand for television and film projects. All that has taken her away from her retail operation, which she said has suffered from her absences with unpaid bills and depleted inventories. "I'm simply no longer interested in devoting the time necessary to operating this place," she said. "I wish I could because I love it, but it's either me or the store." To the global audience that associates her with Carrie Bradshaw's Manolo Blahniks or Miranda Priestley's designer sunglasses, it may be news that Mrs. Field is first and foremost a punk den mother. But that is the role she's played with an unflappable precision for decades, even as the store has changed locations and the street fashion surrounding her has metamorphosized many times over. Her bazaar, as she likes to call it, overflows with mirrored t-shirts, tutus, Venetian masks, painted trench coats by artist Scooter LaForge, foam backpacks in the shape of monsters. A catwalk is decorated with a Keith Haring figurine. Downstairs, in what was formerly Miss Field's bedroom, is a wig bar and a salon. Miss Field, who neither sews nor sketches, is above all a canny spotter of talent, often giving fledgling designers their first exposure to the market by selling their products at high and low prices, no matter how unwieldy or bizarre. She absolutely plays an important role in designing, curating, and giving us advice, said Rachel Singer, who makes pom-pom knitwear under the label Sparkle Princess. "We talk about pricing, we talk about fabrication." Apart from Sex and the City fans stopping in for custom gold-plated Carrie necklaces, her patrons are eager experimentalists en route to nightclubs or drag careers or Halloween parades, to whom the magenta Patricia Field signature on the front window signals permission to let the freak flag fly. But the outcry over the closing goes beyond buying and selling. The store has functioned as a makeshift community center, hangout, and even pickup joint. Of its former location on East 8th Street, the drag performer Lady Bunny said, "We would stop in and use the bathroom or shop or talk to the transsexuals at the makeup counter. You lived in the East Village for the scene and went into the West Village for sex, so we were frequently going back and forth, and Pat's spot was right in the middle." Over the decades, her regulars have included rockers like Patti Smith and Debbie Harry, pop stars like Lady Gaga and Miley Cyrus, and drag stars like RuPaul, who still stops by on his bike during the summer. Another, Missy Elliott, recently bought 6 pairs of Thai boxing shorts for her backup dancers. "I love Missy," Miss Field said. Presiding over the circus, Miss Field is as much of a landmark as her emporium. At once nurturing and blasé, Pat was much more than just a boss, Lady Bunny said. "Pat is one of us." Central to her clientele was the transgender community, which also made up a good portion of her staff. Before Amanda Lepore was an underground celebutante, she worked at the cosmetic stand starting in the mid-1990s. "We would have to watch for shoplifters, and sometimes the other kids would say, 'Amanda's not watching,'" Miss Lepore said, but Miss Field was a lenient boss. She would say, "Don't expect her to do anything. She's in outer space." Miss Lepore said, "I was around all those mirrors, and I would just look at myself all day." So the article goes on for quite a bit more, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I will provide the link for this and all the other articles in the section below if you guys want to check them out. You can also see Patricia Field and the inside of her store during the mid-1980s in the Nelson Sullivan video, Inside Patricia Field's Boutique with Tangela, James St. James, and Lisa E., uploaded by 5 9th Avenue Project. So that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing to Retro Room by clicking the kitty, and I will see you guys again for my next upload.